Hello, English 101 students. I hope you're having a nice day today and um, handling the change in time okay. It seems like it should be later than it is, but we'll get through it. It's just take a little adjustment. So I just wanted to go over the research report that's due on Friday. Some of you might be concerned about it or not sure. So I'm just going to give you a brief overview. And then if you still want to chat about it, we could do that. I can send a Zoom link and we can talk that way, or I can, we might be able to handle it through email. I can send you some links to the OWL site if you wanted to review APA and see some examples. And there's also the Hoffman Library, which has some nice, a very helpful chat and staff that can help you there. And there's also APA help. So there's lots of resources out there for you. And so what I want to do is just go over what the next assignment entails. Today, what was due was just the quiz and the on APA. And again, with the quizzes, you can keep resubmitting. So if you didn't do so well, then you can just look at the ones that you got wrong and maybe just review it and try again. So don't be dismayed with that. And then also the discussion post where you're discussing your research and what you found and what's been helpful. And some of you might be thinking of even switching your topic, and that would be up to you, and that's fine. It sounds like, and I mean, I don't know for sure, but it does sound like from reading your discussion posts and it sounds like you're passionate about your topics, and there's some really good ones. So I don't see anybody waffling too much, but if you're having trouble with that, just email me. Maybe I can offer some input. So with the last assignment, you're going to be finding 3 sources, and maybe you already have them in front of you, and that's fine. So there should, let me share the screen with you and we'll go look at the assignment together. How's that? All right. So I'm in the assignment research report, module 2. So this is brief. Your final essay will be, I believe it's 5 pages, and that's not including the title page and the reference page. So this is much shorter, obviously. You're only going to have 3 paragraphs. So, and you're going to be using those 3 sources to guide your discussion in those paragraphs, okay? So in a brief 5-paragraph essay, which is the introduction, you're going to include what what you're going to be talking about. So what is your topic? Why is it important? What's the controversy? It's basically your thesis statement. What are you going to be arguing? Okay. And then when you get to your body paragraph 1, you're going to be providing some general information from some reference source. So it's not a very specific discussion. It's more general and kind of an overview, like if you're at the pool and you just kind of dip your foot in, you're not all the way in, you're just feeling it out. Excuse me, my computer is running low on energy here, so I have to. All right. Joke with that one, but let's just stay away from that. All right, so that's yeah, so you'll use a reference source, whatever it might be. It doesn't have to be like anything too academic. You could use, like, maybe if your topic has something to do with one of the topics is, say, autism. So if you talk to an educator that works with autistic children, you want to use a quote from that particular source. That's perfect. Okay. Or another topic was foster care. So if you want to use some remarks from someone that you talked to or interviewed, or in a past conversation with that particular person that's a director of, has some authority, then you can, in that first paragraph, you're just giving kind of an overview, just touching on the topic. And then in the second paragraph, you're going to use your next source, which would be an online source, okay? And so it's going to be a little more focused and more specific. And then your third source you'll use for your, which will be academic database. And that will be your third paragraph. And then you'll have wrap up, your closing remarks. You want to make sure you have your the title page and your reference page. And I would go to the module 2 where the read, watch, listen, because there's some excellent information on how to for the APA. In fact, we can go there right now. I'll take you there. So if you go to modules and module 2, I need my glasses for this one. Here we go. So module 2, read, watch, listen. So here's lecture notes, and I think I'm going to take you to, let's go to this one. This is more of a, all right, APA format. So this gives you kind of an overview of APA style features with an example. There's the author, year, date, and page number. So if there isn't a page number, then you would use the paragraph. And this is the in-text citation. And this is for the end text. End text meaning the reference on your reference page. That's how it would look. Okay. The APA layout is requires this, the standard font. And maybe you already know this, but if not, and if you did know it, maybe you forgot, which is understandable. So you would use a 12 font, Times New Roman or Arial. You need a title page. It includes the student's first and last name, course title, instructor's name, and date submitted. There's a header on the top throughout the paper it's your paper's title in all caps. And then you have the page number in the upper right-hand corner. And the words running head go before the title on the title page, but not on the following pages. So that's only on the title page. Double spaced, 1-inch margins. And then it shows you an example of an in-text citation. Nursing leaders should focus on employee satisfaction and make the healthcare setting a rewarding place to work. So here we have, this would be inside your paper. It's a paraphrasing. It's not a direct quote, but you still need a citation. So it's information that you took from a source. You put it into your own words, so it does not require quotation marks around it. But you still require the citation, which is the author, Guyton, with a comma, the date of the publication of the article or the source, comma, and then the page number, P period 34. The punctuation always goes after the parentheses, okay? And sometimes, again, you won't have the page number, and I think there's an example here where you would use the paragraph instead, paragraph number. So here's an in-text citation with no author. So you would just use the title of the article. If you have no author, you still need the date of the publication and then the page 2. And as you see, the period goes after the parentheses. And again, this is not a direct quote aside from they borrowed the word frightening. So that is in quotation marks, okay, from the source. But you still need the citation at the end. In-text citation with no date. So the only difference is you would put N period D period comma for no date. You still have the author and then the no date. And this one, as you notice, has no page. There's no page numbers. So you would use the paragraph. And it's set up just like that with the period at the end of the parentheses. Here's an in-text citation when the author is named in a single phrase. So sometimes you want to mention the author and you don't want to put it within the parentheses or the citation. So you can certainly do that. It's actually recommended because it makes for better writing that way. So it's a stronger paper. So McCullough, and then we're going to just put the date in the parentheses, 2001. So you still have your author and your date, right? Wrote that John Adams had, and we're using a direct quote from the source. So that's why it has the quotation marks, but I'm integrating it into my words, okay? Wrote that John Adams had, open quote, the hands of a man accustomed to pruning his own trees, cutting his own hay, and splitting his own firewood, close quote. And then I have a page number. So I'm going to include the page in parentheses with the period after the parentheses. Very often I see period right here, but it's very common error. So that's why I'm pointing it out and emphasizing it. So as you notice, we still have the author, date, and page number. It's just we set it up a little bit differently, and you can certainly do that. And I, again, recommend it. And the reason I recommend it is I like the engagement of it. I like the way that I feel like the author of the paper engages better this way sometimes when they actually, instead of just including the author, date, and the page at the end of the statement, you just the reference to the author, or the reference to the source of the author of the source, repeated like that in your paper is makes for a stronger read. Let's put it that way. So, all right. So in-text citations correspond with end-text citations. So all this means is here's my reference page. And your reference page is not going to say reference page. It says references, and it's centered. And that's your last page. And it has anything I find on there for this particular assignment that's due, there should be 3 sources, okay? They should be alphabetical. And I should find whatever I find on the reference page should be in your paper. So on your final research paper, whatever you cite in your paper, whatever source or article that you mention or author that you talk about should be on your reference page, and vice versa. Whatever I see on your reference page, if I see 6 sources, those sources should be referenced somewhere in your essay. So that's what that means. Okay. And this is just kind of an overview. I'll let you read that on your own. Typical end text citation. This is again, that just means this is what it looks like on your reference page, the end text citation. You have author's last name and first initials. And here we have 2 authors, okay? And then the date with the period, period after the author, sorry. And then the date, period. And then you have your article title in blue and with a period. And then I have my journal article, which is in italics with a comma, and the volume, there should be an issue number, volume, and page numbers if you're dealing with a journal article. And sometimes you can't find the volume number, which in this case looks like there's just issue 18, and then there's the page numbers 59 through 92. And that's that. And okay, so hopefully that was helpful. If I can get back, I'll show you. Oops. Wanted to show you something else within that. So let me go back to it. There probably was an easier way to go back. I don't know. All right, so read, watch, listen. Here we are. Okay, so there's 2 of these, and I think they're exactly the same. I just, so it's a little redundant. I'm not sure, but I do think these are exactly the same. So, and this is the librarian, and she's going to go over with you just for a few minutes. I might as well just play it. It's not long at all. Let me just make sure the volume is on here.
You need to go to the Goodwin homepage and then click on library on the right-hand side.
All right.
Once you get to the library's homepage, single search is going to be the first tab on the left-hand side right there. Single search is a great beginning research tool because it allows you to search through a number of the library's databases all at one time. The first thing that you need to do is type in your keywords. You want to keep your keywords broad at first because you can always add more terms or you can try different ones. Okay, so for example, if I'm doing the effects of social media on teenagers, I'm probably going to start with social media in teenagers and hit search. Depending on your topic, the first thing that comes up might be what we call a research starter. A research starter will give you good background information on a topic. Over here on the left-hand side, you can refine your results. It automatically defaults to full text, which is good because it will only show you the resources that the library has in full. The next thing you're going to want to do is change your publication date. You typically want to keep your publication date within the last 5 to 10 years. So I'm going to go ahead and do 2013 to 2018. Okay, and the next thing that you can do is choose a source type. The library has a variety of different source types, so you can choose the one if you'd like a specific one. So I'm going to go ahead and hit academic journal. Okay, the first thing that you want to do is to read the different titles. If you're reading the titles and it's not relevant to your topic, or if you don't understand several of the words, you probably want to choose a different one. Okay, so I'm going to click on this one. The first thing that you want to do is scroll down and read the abstract. An abstract is an overview of the article. If you're reading the article and it's not relevant to your topic or you don't understand some of the jargon, then you probably want to go back up here to the left and go back to your search and try a different article. Once you've read through the article abstract, there's a couple of different things you can do. If you're at the library, you can print your article. You can also email it to yourself. You can cite the article from here, but I strongly recommend you use another resource we have called APA Style Central. What I like to use is what we call a permalink. A permalink is a permanent link that will allow you to get back to this resource later. It's important that you save your articles electronically so that you can get back to them later. Okay, so what I'm going to do is go back to the results list here. That's a little bit about how you use single search. I'm going to go back to the library's homepage. The library also has course or subject specific databases here on the right. So I'm going to click databases A through Z. If you go to all subjects here, and I'm going to choose English. These are specific English databases that the library has. If you're using single search and you're having trouble, feel free to go to this database list and try using one of these databases as well. Okay? Now let me go back to the library's homepage. If you're having trouble during this research phase, please feel free to chat with us. You can also make a comment on Blackboard, or you can email me directly. Thank you for listening.
Okay, let's see if I can go back to where we were. Oops, okay. All right, so hopefully that was helpful. I'm going to go back to the assignments because I want to show you something else now. All right, let's see. I want to go to all right. So here, when you go into the assignments, it gives you the instructions for what to put in body paragraph 1, et cetera, et cetera. And, you know, you want to have your introduction with like thesis statement. And And don't worry too much because we're going to be working on introductions. We're going to be really fine tuning introductions, closings. You're going to have an assignment where you're actually submitting a thesis statement. So you're going to be revisiting your thesis statement. And so this is kind of like I guess you would call it a dress rehearsal of what your final product would be. Because it's still early on, so we'll have time to work on that. So don't get too concerned about it. There's some samples here on the bottom too that you could refer to if you want to. This one is on cyberbullying. I'll just click on it quickly. And as you can see, here's the title page. We have our running head, and then all caps, page 1. There's the student's title of this paper so it's going to be your title, whatever title you choose. Cyberbullying, yours will be whatever your topic is. And then, we have English composition. I don't see why their name isn't on this. I'm not sure about that. So you want to double check the title page. I believe they left off some information there. And then the running, well, anyway, I'm not sure about this one either, why that running head is continuing, but. So if you look at the content in the beginning, they have the introductory paragraph, which is your like your thesis statement. Cyberbullying has become an epidemic. I really like that very strong, direct statement. I can tell that, obviously the topic is cyberbullying and it's much more prevalent than it used to be. There might be some comparisons to maybe even 10 years ago, what was going on, why is it more prevalent now? So there's a lot in just one statement that you can make. So you want it to make a nice, strong statement about your topic. If the sentence is too long and meandering and it goes on, and you run into some trouble with that. So you want to open up in a strong way. School-age children are facing the issue every day. So now I know we've narrowed it down to school children. So because remember, cyberbullying is more relevant to maybe school children. I mean, it can happen with anyone. It happens with adults all the time. But in this case, we want to narrow down our topic. And I have talked to you about doing that because some of our topics are very broad. So you want to try to find like a niche, like a subtopic within your topic that you want to explore, but it should be something that you're very interested in too. So school-age children are facing the issue every day. Studies show there are increased emotional problems among those who are cyberbullied. So the introduction is just giving us kind of an overview and the argument about so that we have an idea of what this particular author is going to be discussing in his or her paper. Oh, now I see why they left their name out. It's a sample, so it's anonymous. So yeah, so that's why there's no name. But typically in the title page, you would have your name on the title page. But now I understand why. Okay, so and here's their first body paragraph. So remember, for your first body paragraph, you're just going to be using a reference. So in this case, I think they used Wikipedia, maybe. Yeah, cyberbullying, no date. So you wouldn't use Wikipedia for a source. That's not even considered a credible source. But in this case, because it's more of a general kind of idea or definition of what cyberbullying is, then it was admissible, I'm assuming. So within the last decade, cyberbullying has become more common. Its dramatic increase is concurrent with the advancements in technology. My understanding is that so you want to make sure that your first sentence in your first body paragraph is directly correlated to what you'll discuss in that paragraph. So if you're going to talk about the contributing factor being technology and how that contributed to cyberbullying, I would expect that within that paragraph, that's what I would find or ramifications of that. So examples, etc. So yeah, so if you scroll down, I'm not going to read the whole thing, but there's, threats, sexual remarks, disclose victims' personal information, on and on, hate speech, and all of these things, listing the Facebook, MySpace, Twitter, Snapchat. So all these things are, correlate well with what we're talking about in terms of technology as it relates to the cyberbullying. I mean, the two go hand in hand, obviously. I don't think cyberbullying doesn't exist without the technology, correct? I mean, there's always been bullying, but this new term, cyberbullying, comes from the advent of technology. So actually this statement would, you might want to reconsider that because, I guess my point is you want to be as specific as possible when you're opening up your body paragraph. So just like you want to be specific in the introduction in introducing your argument, your topic, those 3 paragraphs, the first sentence of each paragraph, that topic sentence should be very direct statement and very specific to what you're going to be discussing within that paragraph. And of course, it's going to also correlate with, it's going to reflect what source you found, the source that you're using. Okay, so for instance, all right, so if foster care was one of the topics. So if I choose to use foster care, I'm going to be discussing foster care. So in my first body paragraph, I might find a source that talks about funding, the lack of funding for foster care. So that would be my topic sentence. Funding is lacking, something to that effect. It probably should be a little bit longer. And so then I'm going to talk about just funding and the lack of funding in foster care. It's related to poor resources, poor outcomes for the children, a lack of rehabilitation and mental health resources, etc. So in now my second body paragraph with foster care, I might talk about lack of individuality, so that and so I'll find an article about that. So that's what I'm going to talk about in that paragraph, my second body paragraph. All right, so I'm not going to mention it in my topic sentence and then go off and start talking about where the foster care facilities are located, right? Unless it has to do with the lack of individuality. So everything I discuss in that paragraph should support your topic sentence. In your third body paragraph, perhaps you'll talk about, I found a source on poor outcomes in foster care, which is very strong evidence that we need all those other pieces. We need more funding, et cetera. So there are studies have shown poor outcomes in foster care children. And so in that particular paragraph, I'm not going to start talking about how we need to have better vetting in foster care and identify parents, foster care parents in a better way, something to that effect. That's a good topic, but it's not what I'm talking about in this particular paragraph. Okay, so you need to be focused on the poor outcomes, and maybe it does relate to, if it does relate to poor outcomes, then it's going to work. But remember, this is just one paragraph, so you have to keep it brief. And you're just giving an overview pretty much, because this is very abbreviated, this actual assignment. It shouldn't be more than a paragraph. So each paragraph should just be a paragraph, which is usually, 5 to 7 sentences or so. Okay, so that's important as well. And then you're going to have your wrap up statement at the end, and you want it to, your concluding remarks. And this student, I know they do this sometimes in conclusion, and it just tends to be a little bit of my pet peeve. So if you say in conclusion, my remarks will be, let's try not to avoid using in conclusion when you're wrapping up. And it's not that big of a deal, but it's just, I feel like the ending is always much stronger without having that in conclusion thing there. All right, I'm going to stop sharing this. All right, so hopefully this has been helpful for you in understanding what you need to do for Friday's assignment. And hopefully the discussion post and discussing what you found in your research is also helping you to determine, where you're going with your topic and where it's taking you. Sometimes our research takes us somewhere that we didn't expect. And so that's very common. And that's what research is all about. The main thing is, though, that you should be excited about what you're finding. And there should be more recent things. And I think the librarian did mention that you want to use more current trends on your topic. So you don't want to look at something that was older than 10 years, because things change a lot, especially with technology. We've had so many advancements over the last decade. So you want to find more modern articles, new innovative approaches and ways that we're handling particular, whether it relates to, motorcycle helmet requirements or leadership, women in the workforce, foster care, autism, whatever your topic might be. And you want to just find the most contemporary sources out there to use. And I'm trying to think if there's something else that I wanted to mention. I think that's about it. If you still have questions and you're still confused about how to, or if you want to email me your sources so I can just give you some input. I don't know if I said that already. Definitely do that. If you have a draft and before you actually submit it, I can definitely look at it that way too. Just email it to me. You'll always get a chance to resubmit, just like the quizzes. So if I grade your this paper and you get it and you're not satisfied with it and you want to improve, because I do give a lot of comments too, especially if it's not a perfect paper. I want to make sure that you understand how you can improve your writing. And so I'll definitely give it back to you with some very specific comments within the paper, and then you can redo it and just resubmit it. So quite a few students like to do that if they, even if it's the grade is passing and it's in the B range, but you still feel like you want to polish it up. So there's always that option. So that's about it. I don't think I have anything else that I can think of. I'm going to be posting this in Canvas. So, and the title will be Research Report Overview Video, something to that effect. And I also left an announcement today. So I think, there is the basketball tryout flyer in there. Professor Fox is coaching that, and he's fantastic. So if you're interested in trying out for the basketball team, I believe it is on the 11th, which is Veterans Day. Although we don't meet, classes are not held on Veterans Day in the college. So just be aware of that as well. I hope everything's going well. And if you need extensions or you have questions, again, I can't emphasize enough to please email me so that you don't go like MIA and I don't know what's up. If you see, if you get notifications for missing assignments or you notice a 0, the grade book has to be updated. So, don't fret too much about that, just as long as we're in communique and you're talking to me and you might have computer issues or things going on, someone's sick or, I understand, but let's just keep the communication open. That's all. All right. So that's it. And I hope you have a wonderful evening and I will talk to you soon. Take care.